Well, good afternoon and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another version of the COVID-19 interviews that we're conducting here at TravelMole. And today I'm talking to a man who's in charge of one of the busiest, one of the most popular islands in the Caribbean, as far as tourism is concerned. I often say it's an island that's unique in the fact that it is very, very culturally based. If you're in this island, you know you're there. And the reason being is all the sights and sounds and smells are only found in Jamaica. And so welcome, Donovan White.
Thank you. Thank you for that great welcome. It's always good to chat with you. It's always good to be on the TravelMole space as well.
Good. Donovan, how are things in Jamaica at the moment for your tourism industry? I'm assuming from what I understand and what I've read and what we've reported that you're coming towards the end of the really bad period, and that sooner rather than later the island will open up and you'll be able to welcome visitors, if perhaps initially interregionally, and so from other Caribbean islands, but then maybe from North America and eventually from further afield. Am I talking sense?
You're talking a lot of sense, and a lot of what you've said have actually started to happen already. But just for the benefit of your listeners, I believe it is only fair that I give credit where credit is due, and to say that our public health officials have worked really hard and really well. Our first responders throughout this pandemic has been stupendous, and they have allowed us to flatten the curve, as it were, and to deliver a very sound report card on how Jamaica has managed through this pandemic. Today, we have a total of 659 positive cases that we've had throughout. We have a total of 10 deaths. We have a total of 516 total recoveries. So we are almost 80% of our cases have been fully recovered. And, that has allowed for us to, engage, all our markets and all of our stakeholders locally about the possibility of an early reopening of our borders and early restart of the tourism industry. Now, the tourism industry, as you well know, you've heard myself, you've heard the Minister Bartlett speak on this, but the truth is that we are a heavily tourism-dependent society and region in terms of the Caribbean. Over 350,000 people depend on their lives and livelihoods from the tourism industry, whether directly or indirectly. More than 90% of those 350,000 persons were either furloughed or lost their jobs due to the total lockdown of our borders and of the industry. And so that has started to have a very negative impact on just our economic outlook. And it's never easy when you have citizens of any country unable to provide for themselves and to take care of their livelihoods. And so with our numbers being the way they are, the Prime Minister and his cabinet has given the nod for us to begin to slowly and in a phased way begin to open our borders to receive both travelers that are Jamaican residents that are seeking to repatriate home, who have been held up overseas for a number of months, and as well non-Jamaican travelers who are wishing to be in Jamaica for either touristic purposes or for business travel as well. So we opened our borders on the 15th of June, which is last week Monday, with a number of protocols and adjustments in terms of our airport processes, testing at the airport for travelers coming from high-risk countries. And by high-risk countries, we classify those as countries who have had large community spread of the coronavirus. And so effectively, we have reopened. We are beginning to see persons coming in for touristic purposes. We have created what is called a resilient corridor within our tourism product that allows for a controlled space where tourists are allowed to be. And that has worked very well over the last 8 or 9 days since we have reopened, and we're beginning to see the wisdom of a phased reopen that is controlled and managed in collaboration with a number of state agencies, as well as working with the private sector.
So when you use those measurements as to what countries you're going to allow in, that takes out two of your pretty big major markets, inbound international markets, doesn't it? UK and USA would not qualify in any way, shape or form as countries that have low numbers of COVID.
Right. So we don't disqualify countries. What we do is they become part of our high risk traveling group, and those high risk traveling group are required to have mandatory testing on arrival.
So someone arriving from JFK tomorrow morning,
right,
would have to have I forget what they call it, a PCR test or whatever it's called.
Correct. That is correct.
Airport. They then have to go where? Where do they go from there? Do they get their results straight away, or do they go and isolate somewhere?
Okay, so let me take a step back and allow you to have a full appreciation of the process from start. So anyone traveling to Jamaica, irrespective of where you're coming from, you're required to seek a travel authorization online from Jamaican authorities. That means that anyone coming to Jamaica have to go to visitjamaica.com and complete the pre-screening application as well as your immigration and custom declaration in one place. It takes about 5 minutes. You get if you're approved, you get an automatic response, or rather an instant response. On arrival, there is a guided step through the airport that includes a health screening on your way to immigration, customs, and then your PCR test is taken at the end of your journey before you board your transportation to your hotel. Once you get to your hotel, because the corridor is a managed space that only has accommodations open in this first phase of our reopening, you're taken to your hotel, and all persons in the hotel property are expected to remain on the property until you get your results. The results are timed between 24 to 48 hours. And once you have your results, if it's negative, you're then allowed to move about within the corridor.
You're allowed to move around in the country. So
in the corridor, not in the country.
So you can't go to Scotches, you can't go to the Strip, you can't do
They're not open. They're not open. So the only places that are open in this first phase between June 15 to June 30 is the resilient corridor from Negril to Port Antonio, but within that corridor, only accommodations are open.
Okay, so well, let's move forward a little bit.
Right.
Post June 30th.
Right.
Assuming everything goes well in this 2-week period on the corridor you're talking, and the PCR tests and everything else,
right?
What happens after the 30th? What's the plan? Is it to open up and be more relaxed about where people can go? Is our shops going to be open? Is Scotches going to be open? What's the story from then on?
I suspect you're missing Scotches, but we could come back to that one. What will be open, I can't say yet. That is a determination that is under constant review by the cabinet and the Prime Minister himself, and only he is allowed to make that decision, obviously on advisement from his various sector leaders and his cabinet. So I'm unable to say to you that attractions will be open or restaurants will be open or anything like that. What I can say is that depending on how successful this first phase of the reopening is, and our ability to manage the demand on testing and to manage the demand on services required for any positive tests that are resulted from these tests being done over this period, will determine what our next moves are. Surely, as I have indicated, there is a heavy dependence on tourism to jumpstart our economy. And so there is going to be a very positive look, I suppose, at how quickly we can continue to expand this reopening to include other subsectors. But being able to say to you today, on the 22nd of June, that on the 1st of July, A, B, C, D, and E are going to be now open for business, I'm unable to do that. But what I maintain with you is that there is a real opportunity for us to continue to manage this phase reopening. We've had great cooperation from all the persons who have arrived in Jamaica thus far, from mostly from the United States, and we believe that as more persons begin to travel and more airlines begin to fly, that there is going to be more demand that has been pent up over these past months. And we are prepared to begin to relax some of our own challenges, but at the same time maintain a level of vigilance on our protocols and ensuring that all of our tourism establishment are maintaining that kind of focus.
If this 12-week, 14-week, whatever it turns out to be, period of COVID non-activity, has it given you a chance, and the government and Ed Bartlett, a chance to think about the type of tourism and economy that you would want in the future? Is it much, and if so, is it much different from the one that we left in January and February? And the reason I ask the question is there's many places in the world, including the Caribbean, other Caribbean nations are talking about, we want to go to a new tourism economy where it's potentially low numbers but higher value, and by that way it can be more sustainable, and that the benefit of tourism will be spread more evenly across the citizens of the country.
Jamaica has been on a journey of, over the last several years, specifically over the last 4 years, of really expanding our tourism product to be more inclusive of our linkages with the various subsectors in the economy. Particularly, from a marketing perspective, we've continued and maintained that our destination is more beyond the beaches than it is anything else. And to do that, we've had to understand what are the various pillars that makes this tourism product what it is. And from that perspective, we and a lot of the Caribbean nations, our neighbors, have recognized that the value to our product is in the real authenticity of our people, our food, or the taste and smell, as you rightly mentioned earlier, our events, our culture, our ability to provide the kind of unbelievable different experience that you can't get anywhere else in the world.
That's the thing about Jamaica. The thing about Jamaica is that it's a unique experience. It's often used that in the Caribbean, and I'm not just trying to flatter you because you're on the call, but it's a unique experience because it's so Jamaican. That sounds a very silly thing to say, but it's very Jamaican. The music, the food, everything you do in Jamaica is Jamaican. And I often feel as if I'm on holiday in Jamaica, that staying in a huge resort hotel, I could be anywhere in the world, quite frankly. There's lots of nice beaches and lots of sunny places and lots of people that sell non-stop banana daiquiris.
Right.
But to take into account places like, Scotchies, I know there's hundreds of chicken places. There's something unique about your Kentucky Fried Chicken, everybody tells me, but I'm yet to experience that, etc., etc. The music, the athletics, everything that you have. What's in the plan going forward in order to bring that forward? I know you've just spoken about it. You're on a journey, but where are we on that journey?
We're a very far way into this journey, to the extent that what we see is exactly as you've described it, and that is how do we continue to grow our numbers while at the same time maintaining a focus on driving that continued authentic experience that every guest not only come to Jamaica for, but come back to Jamaica for over the years. And that is around making the things that we spoke about, the music, the food, the culture, the people, be the heroes of this product. It's not about the beautiful resorts, although those are lovely, and we welcome them, and we work with those investors and our partners in a very deliberate way to create that experience as part of the Jamaican experience. But we know that even within those resorts, those investors have also adopted our culture into their resorts, so that even if you feel like you are somewhere else because of how it looks and feels, because they most look the same way wherever you go, the experience that you have within that hotel or that resort is uniquely Jamaican, because it's delivered by the Jamaican people. The food is a Jamaican food. The music you listen to and hear across the resort is the Jamaican product. But even more importantly, we are curating new tours and new experiences for tour operators to be able to give every visitor to Jamaica an equally or even more exciting experience once they come to Jamaica. And that is something that is going to be different, because as you can well imagine, unless there is a vaccine for COVID-19 in the very near future, we're going to be living with COVID-19 for some time into the future. And so things like physical distancing and sanitization and managing people in large spaces is going to continue to be part of what we have to grapple with. And the way to do that is to create more intimate, more close, one-on-one type experiences for every guest in Jamaica. And I believe that's where we're going to be able to extract more value from the product. We're going to be able to give people more unique experiences that they can't have anywhere else. But more importantly, we're going to be able to reposition our product. Our marketing team is now very hard at work, because one of the things I've tasked them with is how can we continue to demonstrate vividly to every traveler around the world why it is different to come to Jamaica, why coming to Jamaica makes a vacation different from anywhere else you can go as a beach destination or as a sun destination. And so we have to continue to make that argument and make that conversation live and in real time. And that's where we're using technology to be at the heart of everything we do. Even within the reopening of the destination, the use of technology to create our travel authorization has been something that we developed in a matter of days. And we were able to bring it to life and make it work in such a seamless way that it just demonstrates what I've been saying for 2 years, that as we grow forward, as we deepen and entrench the Jamaican product around the world, technology is at the heart of everything we do. And without it, we won't be able to hit the marks we have planned.
Good man. Well, Donovan, thank you very much for your time. I thank you for answering some probing questions. And well, I think they are. And I look very much forward to having a cold red stripe with you, overlooking Montego Bay, having played a game of golf, and looking forward to a bit of jerk chicken in the evening. Donovan, thanks very much, and I wish you the very, very best of luck.
Thank you so much. And I promise you that on your next trip, you and I will do all three of those things.
Good man. Good man. Cheers.